Hi everyone. Well, I'm coming to you via a webcam. This is the first time I've done this type of thing, but I think it's a way that I can have more of a personal touch to chat with you and share with you from my heart about ministry-related items and maybe some training issues, and share with you about what I believe God is doing here at Grace. We have in the past months had some wonderful times of talking and discussing about worship with Pastor Mike. I know not everyone's been able to come to that, but this has really been a wonderful time to talk about the foundation of things, of what's regarding worship, the right heart attitude, where we should go, how we should focus, what the Bible has to say about that, looking at different biblical examples. So I really appreciate what Pastor Mike's been sharing with us in that regard, and we will be having more of those times together in the months and years ahead. I want to be able to capsulize for you some of those things that we've talked about, to remind you of some of that, because not all of you have had a chance to be a part of it, but also to talk about what I believe is happening within our worship ministry, especially in the last few months, and what I sense God doing. And I want to do my best to help prepare you for what's going on, and to explain to you how we can better prepare. So one of the things I want to first mention is that in the last, especially couple months through worship, there's been a lot more singing out from the people. I'm sure that you've noticed it as well. We'll bring it down and we'll ask them to sing, and different worship leaders of our worship leaders have been doing that, and the people sing out like crazy. That's really been very moving for me to hear them sing like that, and I'm sure it has for you as well. What I would say has been happening in worship at a deeper level is that there's an emotional connection to worship. Not that there's never been an emotional connection in the past. That wouldn't be true, because obviously we've had some also wonderful times of worship in the past and for over the many years that I've been here. But I would say that there is definitely an ongoing, more normal response emotionally, and a deeper connection emotionally in worship in the last couple of months than we've seen in a long, long time. And I don't think that's by accident. Working with Pastor Mike, we have the freedom to be able to really develop an atmosphere where we can just continue to worship, to sing, to focus on the Lord, and giving God time and room to move, for the Spirit of God to work in our lives and in the people's lives. The worship leaders have been seeing this. As I watch it from week to week, are getting a sense and adjusting to that, because I know that's been an adjustment. Are we just going to add a song or whatever? But they're realizing it's more than that. It's about sensing the Spirit's leading, sensing where the people are, and really bringing all that together that helps create an emotional connection to worship. That also means that it's going beyond just picking songs that we enjoy, that mean something to us, and having musical tightness. All of that is important, of course, but it's not the most important thing. We want to keep things vertical with the Lord, and then the horizontal kind of takes care of itself as the Spirit moves within and among us. But we know it's not just the excellence. It's about having an emotional connection. And one of the ways that we have been doing that in recent months has been what can be labeled having in-the-pocket songs. That means having extra songs that we prepare, are ready to do, so that if there is a sense, either from Pastor Mike or from the worship leaders, that worship needs to continue, that there's a connection going on, that people's hearts are being moved by the Lord, then we can continue worship, not just by repeating a chorus, although we can do that, but by having other songs into it. So when Pastor Mike comes up, or this, or the worship leader may do this type thing, we know that means let's keep this going. And because we don't want to prescribe what the Lord may be doing in any given service, the services may look different. The first service we might use extra songs, a second service we may not. Or we may use extra songs that we've prepared in the first service, but use the other extra songs we didn't use in the second service. Depends on what the worship leader, or what Pastor Mike, or it could be even for myself, what we may sense God wants us to do. We might even totally change it up and bring in a song we hadn't planned for. And if that's the case, then the worship leader may work with the guitar players, or if they play themselves like Dave Portelis or myself, or working with the keyboard player. So this makes what this means is you really have to watch for the cues. You got to be looking for things all the time. You've got to keep your peripheral sensitivity and your eyes open to things all the time. If you just kind of, or you're getting into your groove and you're just playing along, whether you're watching a chart on your screen, whatever you're doing, if you just get caught up in the groove of something and you're not kind of keeping the scope of what's going on stage going in mind, you could miss a very important cue. Maybe there's a sign that we want to bring the volume down, we want to slow something up, or whatever. If you're not watching for that, you could miss it, and that could also have an unnecessary effect on how worship is flowing. So you need to be watching for the cues from your leaders and from myself or from Pastor Mike on a week-to-week basis. One of the things we'll be working on as leaders is giving you very clear-cut signs and hand signals, things of that nature, so that from each leader that you'll know what specific hand motions might mean and then what you can do in lieu of that. So the other thing I want to address with you is, how do you know when to play and when not to play? Because that can be an awkward thing. The one thing I will say off the bat is, if there are changes made, or if a wrong chart comes up, or something like this may happen, or a song that we don't even have planned for it, never, ever, 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 ever go on a search and rescue trying to find the key. Because if you do that type of thing, you're actually going to distract from worship. It's going to take people's focus away from what's going on, because they're going to hear all these wrong chords or wrong movement or a wrong lead guitar thing or whatever. If you're going to go on search and rescue, you're going to distract. So if that happens and you know you're not on target with that and can't figure it out, you simply pull out. It's okay. Just pull out. And either the guitar player or the piano player, if they're going where it's headed, let them just lead that. But don't just simply pull out. You need to continue to worship and model that in front of the people. So you need to maybe sing, still engage yourself in worship, so you're not just standing there looking around. So there's no hard and fast rule for that, except just make sure that if you know where you're going, that's fine. If you don't know where you're going, be willing to pull out. If some of the chords you're hitting aren't right, then make sure you don't hit that chord the next time. Some of those are just common sense things, but there's times where you may sense when it comes down that it would be better that you don't play. Often, less is more. So please keep in mind that you don't have to, nor should you all the time, be playing all the time on every song throughout the entire song. It's not necessary. There's times where a pianist may pull out because it needs to be acoustic guitar. It may be time where everyone else pulls out, it just needs to be piano. There's maybe times where all the instruments pull out because it needs to be a cappella. So you need to keep that in mind. The other thing, and I've been doing this for 35 years, that is difficult for bands, and we have 4 different bands, is that staying in the tempo can be and sitting in the saddle in the tempo can be a very difficult thing to do. So I want you to always keep in mind that when there's a tempo established, tempo, in my opinion, the tempo of a song can greatly impact the emotional connection of the song, whether it goes too fast or whether it's going too slow. Most bands tend to go too fast. And by the way, that's not always the drummer's fault. I know every one of our drummers at times over the years, I've watched them at times try to pull back the tempo. So sometimes if we're speeding up, it could be the piano player, it could be the guitar player, it could be the drummer, it could be the vocalists themselves. Sometimes it can be the worship leader, and that's okay, because maybe the worship leader senses that something needs to speed up, or it might need to slow down. But again, you must keep your peripheral vision going all the time so that you know what they're indicating and what needs to happen. So that's how you play as a team. Don't just get stuck in the groove and playing what you practiced. Be aware of what's going on, and be ready and willing to change what you're doing. That's going to be important. So these are just some of the things that are going on as we prepare for worship. And the in-the-pocket songs, again, we're usually are not going to be adding fast songs. It's going to be slower songs that help people continue to connect on an emotional level, giving the Spirit of God time to really move in the hearts of people during worship. So I'm excited about what God is doing. I'm so grateful for each of you, and look forward to be able to share with you like this other things down the road as we are on this journey of worship together and asking God to work. Love you guys.